As usual, I took some painkillers and believed it will go away. It lingered for a while and resolved. Every now and then it flares up. The past few months, however, the pain has become constant. I can't stand continuously for 30 minutes without feeling like I have to sit. I have stopped going to Legon to play football on Saturdays. The most worrying part for me is this: the performance. And when I say performance, I mean in bed, has gone down. Cry. My painkillers don't work anymore, and I have put on some weight, a pot belly to be precise. Kindly get our drive doctor to offer me some help. And thankfully, our drive doctor is here to offer help. Dr. Yawasafo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, doctor.
And how's your week been?
Amazing so far.
Right.
I like your shirt.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I don't
you.
know if you were paying attention to my playlist today. Reggae Nkwa.
Reggae Nkwa.
What's your favorite reggae song?
Oh, One Love.
One Love.
Yes.
Oh, I should let you do the freestyle yourself.
And then the Three Little Birds.
Oh, you like that one too?
I like that one.
But what about Lordosis Rock?
Oh, yeah.
You love that too? Do you have a favorite?
I like. Not quite. I just go with the flow.
The flow.
I like
The
way that particular genre.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. You know, Lordosis Rock. When you play Lordosis Rock, it gets you thinking about. I mean, if you have a partner,
The love
and all that. And you know, and it boils down to sometimes it also boils down to the performance.
The performance.
And someone is having a problem. It's quite sad. But Doc, you see, I don't think he's alone. There are a lot of people who are having.
He is not alone.
Yeah.
And good afternoon to all our listeners.
Right.
It's good to be here another Wednesday. And Kofi, before I start, I'd like to say this has been a great week at Medical so far.
Great.
Today, it's been a long day, but a very fruitful one. Remember last week I did mention that we're having another round of special spine clinic, and we have our friend who visits from the United States.
Yeah, you did mention
Dr.
that.
Yunchi, yeah. So he's in town, and he's helping the team do some very important work.
And it's been going great, right?
Yeah, it's been going great. Today we started really early. By 6 a.m. People had started coming in. It's going to run for the month of February.
February, okay.
And tomorrow we are actually at Pleasant Medical Center in Asherman for the whole day.
Okay.
And going to work with the team there as well. And then on Friday we'll be at Central Dansoman Clinic, trying to bring the team closer to a lot of people.
Right.
So today I'm not surprised, and I'm quite happy that we picked out of the bag somebody with low back pain.
Yeah.
I think probably from last week. People have been listening. Kofi, a lot of people have low back pain.
Okay, Doc, before you go on, let me remind our listeners that we are streaming live on Facebook.
Right.
Joy 997 FM. We are streaming live on Facebook. Doctor has actually brought a whole spine. live one to the studio. So please head over. That's if you're not driving, please head over and watch us, because he's going to be doing a lot of explanation right here.
Right.
Doc, please take it away.
So thank you, Kofi. And today I come along with a model of the spine. Most people would never see this because most would never have taken a biology course at a higher level or in med school. But it is important that we show this so that I demonstrate how back pain comes about. I think it leads to better understanding. So a lot of people have back pain, and I hope by the end of the conversation, this 50-something-year-old man will be able to help him. So, Kofi, this is your spine. It is made up of different structures. Mm-hmm. A lot of people point to their back press and then they would feel something hard there, the bones. Mm-hmm. So there are 33 bones making up your spine, and we've divided them into different segments. So you have those in your neck, the cervical spine, made up of 7, those in your upper back or your chest, and the thoracic made up of 12 bones, and then you have those going towards your waist.
Okay.
Your lower back. These are bigger ones. There are 5 of them. And then you have these ones that you don't see. They are almost fused. Another 5. We call them the sacral bones. And then This pinpoint one that you sit.
Look, can you? Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the pinpoint ones fused together, and then it looks like an arrowhead. Is also made up of 4. So you've got 7, 12, 5, 5, 4, making in total 33
Okay.
sets. Another thing you may notice from the spine is that the spine model is that if it's not straight. So most of us look at when we stand up, we think that yes, your spine, your back is straight. The spine is actually curved in such a way to ensure that when we stand up, we don't fall down. So it's curved, concave in one part, convex in the following part, and then concave in the following part, and so on and so forth. So it's actually curved naturally. There's a natural curvature to it. In between the bones, you can see these rubbery structures. So although the bones are arranged on top of each other vertically, they don't sit on top of each other.
Okay.
There is an intervening disc.
Right.
So there's a disc in between, and it really acts as a shock absorber. So your spine, we've talked about the bones, then we've also talked about the discs, the IV discs, the intervertebral discs. These are the discs that exist between the bones. We also have a hole, if you like, in the bones, a canal. Most people have used the underbridge at the spintex.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can think of it in that respect, that there is a canal that runs from the back of your neck all the way down to your waist, if you like. And within this canal, you see this yellow
Yeah.
structure. That is your spinal cord.
Okay.
So sometimes when people touch their back, the spine, and then they refer to it as a spinal cord, it is not entirely correct. The cord itself is a very soft structure, and that is why it is encased in this bony canal to protect it from injury.
Okay.
The spinal cord takes its origin from the brain. If you like, it is the tail of the brain. So it goes all the way into your head, and then it descends all the way down, splitting at your waist into your right leg, left leg, and then all the way down to the soles of your feet. So we've got the spinal canal, and then you've got the spinal cord in there. And at all levels, Kofi, you can see it gives off branches.
Yeah.
Right and left. Right. So these are the spinal or the spine nerves. The spine nerves. So there are 31 of them coming from the top all the way down. Then what you don't see with this model is the muscles at your back. So you can feel the flesh or the muscles at your back.
Yeah.
So we've got muscles. We've also got these things that I describe as rubber bands. We call them ligaments. The ligaments hold the bones together so that you have this vertical column which doesn't fall apart. So the ligaments hold the bone pieces together. Then you've got these things we call tendons. All right, the tendons connect the muscles in your back to the bone. All right, we don't see all these things in the bone in this model. But then you've got these things. So, Kofi, these are the various structures that we have in our back that can be the source of the pain that we're experiencing. So we went through this brief biology just to let people know that it's not just the bone. That's what most people can press. It's not just the bone, but you've got all these different structures in your back that can lead to a problem. The pain so when we talk about low back pain, then Kofi, we are talking about these big sets of bones. Whoa.
Okay.
My model is falling apart.
Yes, it's
all
won't
right.
fall.
So it's good. I wanted to hold it actually.
Okay, great.
So these big sets of bones that we refer to as the lumbar, the L bones, there are 5 of them. That is what we refer to when we talk about the lower back.
Okay.
The lumbar region. That is what we would refer to, the lumbar regions. So that's where low back is. So we're not going to concern ourselves with pain in the neck and pain in the upper back.
Okay.
Today the focus is going to
the
be
lower back.
what people talk about, the waist pain.
The waist pain.
Or properly the low back pain. So, Kofi, the pain can arise because of disease. Or sometimes it doesn't occur because of disease. The underlying factor is not disease related. So that's the first thing I want to mention.
Okay.
You may have an underlying disease that is causing your pain, but most times it is not an underlying disease. Most of the causes of back pain are mechanical causes. Mechanical causes. So when we say mechanical causes, then we're talking about a disruption in the way the components of the back, as I described earlier, how they fit together. There's been a disruption in that. And it usually happens when we either suddenly lift something using a very poor technique or something that is too heavy. If you want to impress the girl on Valentine's Day, so, or the wedding day, the wedding picture.
You are going to lift her.
And then you are going to lift me.
Go over you.
Trailer. You buy the trailer. You carry heavy duty. So heavy lifting. So typically those who do manually intensive work, lifting things in their shops and all of that, sports people and all of that, they are at risk. So that is an example of what we call the mechanical back pain, sudden cause. Then you can also have mechanical back pain that develops gradually with time. Those things usually are postural in nature. Those who sit in the offices for long periods, or who sit because by the nature of their work, you work in a studio, a music studio, for example. They can be in there 10 hours trying to get a particular musical piece right.
Yeah.
So those who sit for long periods are also susceptible to developing these mechanical back pain. But for some of the mechanical causes, you are born with it. We would say they are congenital. So it is also possible, although the person who sent this in is a 56-year-old man, it is also possible to have back pain in very, very young people, in children.
Yeah.
All right? And it is because the components, the way the components in your back are related to each other, there was a disruption in that when you were born. You were born with certain deformities. So I like to focus on those things. There are some skeletal irregularities. The first one is something we call scoliosis. Scoliosis. With scoliosis, then you have a curvature in the spine that is different from the normal curve. So it shifts to one side. So it is not unusual for you to see people tilted to their side, either to the right or to the left, when they stand up straight.
Yeah.
There is a tilt to either the left or to the right. We call that scoliosis. Then there's also another condition we call a lordosis. So if you look at the spine, you see that there is a curve that looks like a reverse C in the lower back. A lordosis is an exaggeration of this arch in your lower back. So think about somebody with a huge pot belly, the men with plenty money. They say they have the pot belly. Right. Or the pregnant woman at 9 months. We realize that they walk and it's as if, their abdomen is so protruded, the arch, the back, the lower back is increasingly arched. That's what we call a lordosis, an exaggeration of the normal curve that we see in the lower back. And then you can have the reverse of that, which we call a kyphosis, where the curve is such that it's almost like the person is a hunchback. So they are bent, and then the curve comes out, rather, it protrudes. So these are examples of things that you are born with that can lead you to develop low back pain. Then there is also a condition we call spina bifida. Spina bifida, there is a defect not only in the bone structure, but typically the cord, the spinal cord itself, in terms of its being not malformed or not formed properly together with its covering. And then sometimes some of the bones also don't form, and therefore there's a gap in the back of the individual. So these are things that you are born with. Another cause, so now we are moving from the things you are born with, the mechanical problems you are born with, and then the ones that we develop with time. The first group that I want to talk about are injuries. Injuries. So you have a normal, beautiful spine like the one I have here, and then you develop a sprain. So a sprain, then we're referring to the ligaments. Those band-like structures that hold bone to bone, one bone to another bone. We call them the ligament. So a lot of the time, the sports journalists will come here and then you're talking about
ligaments,
football, and then they tell, oh, this person has ankle ligament injury. A sprain typically is an overstretched ligament, when you put the joint in an unusual position and then it comes back to its normal position, you stretch it too much, then you can cause a sprain and it will develop a lot of pain. So typically, you're lifting something that is too heavy, you're using a poor technique, and then also during sports, you put yourself in a certain position accidentally, and then you can get a sprain. You can also get strains. So when we talk about strains, then we're looking at tears in the tendon. Remember I said the muscles in your back, which help hold your spine up as well, the muscles are attached to the bones. And that's which does the attachment is what we call a tendon. A tendon joins muscle to bone. So when you strain, like you violently contract your muscle, you can stretch the tendon such that you injure it, and that can also cause you to have low back pain.
Okay.
Then we can also have spasms. Spasms are sudden, powerful contractions of the muscle, and then that can also lead to injury. So the ligaments can be injured, the tendons can be injured, and then the muscles in your back can also be injured. So these are the different injuries that can occur. And think about anything: a road traffic accident, a fall from a height, construction sites, sports injuries can also lead to that. The next group that I want to talk about are what we call the degenerative problems. The degenerative problems. Simply put, these are age-related factors. Age-related factors. So as we grow old, Kofi, these discs, the shock absorbers that exist in between the bones of your back, the 5 bones of your lower back, they wear out with age.
With time.
You can't do anything about it. So I keep telling people, whenever time you celebrate your birthday and we're all very happy, well, the perfect machine that you had at age 1 has deteriorated.
Right.
So always have that at the back of your mind.
Yeah.
So there are some degenerative problems, and most of the time, people are familiar with the term spondylosis. They'll say, "Oh, I went to the hospital and they say I have spondylosis." Well, simply put, you've got this generalized degeneration of the spine components, particularly the discs. That's as a result of the normal wear and tear of life. Then you can also have nerve problems that can be the reason why you have pain. Nerve problems. So spinal nerve compression, which can occur through injury and also through disease, where the big canal, that sphincter underdrive, that canal, and you have cars going through. There's a lot of space on our side, so the cars doesn't graze the inside of the canal.
Yeah.
But sometimes, Kofi, this canal within which you have this big spinal cord running, you can have a narrowing, and then the cord is squeezed in there.
Okay.
And then you can develop pain. Then you can also have a compression of one of the big nerves that is found in the region of your buttocks. So this part of the bone that we are dealing with is in the buttocks. It's a big nerve, we call it the sciatic nerve. And it can be pinched, and it gives you this severe pain in your low back, through your buttocks, into your legs, and it's like somebody shooting electricity through your buttocks into your legs.
Wow.
So these are the various reasons why people would have back pain, the various categorizations. Kofi, now, are there risk factors for developing back pain? Are there people who are more likely to develop back pain compared with others?
Right.
Yes. And the first risk factor I want to talk about for developing back pain is age. Age. Typically, the first time most people will have back pain is between the 30 to 50 year age bracket. That's when most people would have their first episode of back pain.
Right.
The reason why age is such an important factor is that it's the degenerative things that we talk about. So these discs, they contain a lot of fluid, a lot of water. But as we grow, they tend to dry up. So desiccation, it becomes dry. So when it becomes dry, it shrinks. And then it doesn't fit snugly as it does right now. And then it is loose in that space. So if you put a bit of pressure on your spine, or you put your spine into an unusual position, then it can pop, it can displace. And when it displaces, it hits the nerve posterior, and then it can give you pain. For example, so aging and drying of the disc. When we age as well, the bone density also changes. So you will have a lot of calcium in your bone. So we have a certain mineral density. As we grow old, typically for women, when they go past the menopause, then you tend to lose calcium from your bones, and the bone density diminishes, and then you are at risk of developing fractures. And the fractures can cause you to have a lot of pain. So age is a very important factor. Your fitness level is number 2. We realize that a lot of people who have low back pain tend to be those who are not fit physically. So I have these people I have tagged the weekend warriors. They are the greatest risk. Kofi, do you know who the weekend warriors
Please
are?
tell me. I want to know.
There are some people, they never exercise Monday to Friday. Then Saturday, I'll see them at Pediase. They are coming to exercise.
All the exercise in the world.
All the exercise in the world for one day. They accumulated Monday to Friday. That's actually such a bad thing to do.
Oh, really?
We never encourage that.
Really?
Yes, because imagine your muscles are not used to exercising. Then one day you
get
put
up
them
and
through such strenuous activity. Most likely you would injure some of the components in there.
Wow.
Yes, you pull on your tendons too hard. They don't have the kind of exercise tolerance, the muscles over the period. So we rather encourage low impact aerobic exercises, few minutes every day,
Right.
rather than the weekend warriors.
Right.
You know, those who want to go and hit out.
So that the spine and
so
all its
that
components are used to.
they're used to the kind of stress that you're going to put them through. So generally, if you are not fit, you there's a high risk that you will develop low back pain. Another thing is weight gain. As you put on the weight, especially in your midsection, as I did mention earlier, you're going to increase the existing curve, the lordosis, the curvature in your lower back. It's going to get worse. And then if at the same time you are growing older, the discs don't fit snugly because they are drying up.
Right.
You can easily pop them. So disc herniation or displacement of the disc then also becomes a problem. So you put a lot of pressure on the spine and you increase the curvature. So weight gain puts you at an increased risk of developing low back pain. Then we have the genetics. You see, why is it that these things, the disc, the shock absorbers, why do they wear so fast in some people and in others they start to wear when they are in their 60s? Well, I think that a lot of that answer is found in genetics. Although the way you've used your body also plays an important role, a lot of it is in genetics. The substances that make up this shock absorber is different. Is formed differently in different individuals.
Right.
So that's where genetics comes.
But is it necessarily a deformity if, you know?
Yeah, so some people don't have a well-formed, a solid disc in terms of the components. So theirs will wear out early. So 28, they're experiencing low back pain, and they don't understand when we tell them that this is an age-related thing. Then I want to talk about job-related factors. If your job requires you to do heavy lifting, pulling, pushing, bending, sitting for prolonged periods, then it puts you at an increased risk, especially when a lot of companies or businesses don't have occupational health policies and all of that. Kofi, I think we've still got a lot to talk about, so we're going to do a part 2 of this next week.
Great.
Next week. So I would wrap up with the last 2 factors, which are smoking. Smoking is also an increased risk factor for developing low back pain. If you smoke, then blood supply to these very important structures I've talked about in your low back is compromised. All right, it's not as efficient as those who do not smoke. So smoking is also a very important risk factor. And then lastly, footwear. You know, sometimes if you wear certain type of footwear, then you increase your risk of developing back pain. So I think we'll end it here. Because there's still a lot more to talk about. The diagnosis and then the treatment. But I think we'll do a part 2 next week.
Right, sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Yao Osafo, CEO of Medicas Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking about low back pain, how you can develop low back pain, and we're going to look at how, you know, you can deal with it. But quickly, doctor, can you please put out the number? So if anyone
the number
wants to,
is 0501 477 340. 0501 477 340. So those who want to come by the spine clinic, so on, you can call on this number.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Yawasafo.
You're welcome.
All right.